But to my Thursday regular guest, Barnaby Joyce, the Nationals frontbencher and former Deputy Prime Minister. Barnaby, really great to see you, but Donald Trump, we need daylight saving. I think we need daylight saving to come in. Barnaby, Donald Trump complains that we ban imports of fresh meat, from uncooked meat from the US. We say there's too much danger of importing mad cow disease, but Americans seem to eat their beef without getting sick. Has Donald Trump got a point?
I don't think so. I look, our biosecurity is so incredibly important to us, and we can remember the issues with Johnny Depp and bringing in the teacup dogs. One of our great exports is our food, which is green and clean, and we don't want to lose that aspect of our exports. Just on these tariffs, I don't know how they're going to go. We have what we send to the United States is generally lean beef. It's not quite finished. All your fats, and I'm going to a sale tomorrow. I'll see how the sale goes. I'll be in town with big store sale. The stuff that's fat generally goes to you. Australians eat it. And stuff that's not quite up to the mark gets ground up, heads over to the United States, and they use it with their fats and goes into the hamburger. So the stuff that's not quite right, not quite finished, as we say, it becomes part of the process that goes in with the American fat meat and goes into hamburgers. And it actually helps the Americans get a greater premium on their fat meat. So I think there's a lot more thought that needs to go into this, but we'll see how things pan out. Trade wars don't work. In the end, who pays for this, of course, is the citizens of the United States of America. We don't pay for it. They pay for it. And they pay for it on their hamburgers and everything else that they eat. And that is not going to help people trying to deal with the cost of living to put up the price of food. And America's also struggling with a big drought, and there's a big loss of their herd. And Australia assists in that process. So, I don't know whether President Trump's got a position or a point. He's certainly got a position, but the ramifications of his decision may be a bit wider than what was first anticipated.
Well, talking about ramifications, Barnaby, something that too few people are talking about. I'd like Donald Trump fighting the woke culture, but what really has worried me that is weakening the loyalties and alliances that make the West strong collectively, that give the US friends in fights for freedom. Look how we've fought by its side in wars. He's savaged Ukraine, has insulted Europe. He hasn't ruled out force in taking Greenland from Denmark. Has demanded Canada become America's 51st state, and now is forcing Japan and South Korea, unbelievably, to talk with traditional enemy China about joining forces to deal with Trump's tariff war. I mean, Japan and China, seriously, this is really weakening the West, isn't it? Doesn't it concern you?
Concern me a bit. And of course, it concerns me and us. Should concern all your listeners more than most. We've had the Chinese doing live fire exercises off our coast. Why would they be doing that? They're practicing. And what are they practicing for when they do live fire exercises off Sydney? Well, they're practicing or warning that, when they're training for a war, and they were training for a war off the coast of Sydney. So work that one out. And then we had the research vessel that cruised its way through Bass Strait, obviously working out where our submarine cables are, and anticipating what the depth of the water is and how their submarines can crawl around, and what are the sites that need to be taken out if in a case of a conflict with Australia. This is very, very, very serious stuff for Australia. Sometimes I don't know whether Australians quite understand how serious it is, and anything that's assists, and of course, and weakens the alliances and weakens the resolve, it is not a good thing. It's a very, very bad thing, and we've got to try and manage this. Of course, our defence alliance with the United States is absolutely primary. We cannot. We have to absolutely work hand in glove with that.
No, you're so right. But my point is Anthony Albanese pointed out too, it's alliance is also about the people's loyalty. What will be the will of the people to help America in a crisis. And if this kind of thing is, I really worry. Here's something weird, just quickly, Barnaby. Chris Bowen's department, the Department of, Bowen being Albanese's climate change and energy minister, has been carpeting, he's been carpeting the country, as you well know, with wind farms, huge wind towers and power lines to connect them. But only now is Bowen's department asking for tenders for people to study this big growth of the onshore wind farm industry, it says, to check about safeguarding threatened species. And it says there is a need to understand the cumulative mortality impacts of wind farms on bird and bat species, as in how many birds and bats these wind farms are actually killing. Why now? Isn't it all a bit late?
He's bat poo crazy. What we are seeing with they're not wind farms, they're intermittent power precincts. It's the biggest swindle on earth. They get paid a return even if they don't produce an electron. They get to sell power in 5-minute blocks when you need it for 24 hours. They get paid the price in the stack of the highest person who comes in. So even if they bid negative, it doesn't matter. They get paid the top price. It's a whole swindle. And now we're seeing that they just have to abide by regulations that if I broke, I'd go to jail. I mean, they're just chopping up birds and getting rid of koalas and getting rid of gliders, and it doesn't seem to matter. They level hills, they knock over forests, and apparently this is for the environment. This is to save the planet. It's a complete hoax. It's a swindle, and you pay for it. You pay for it on your power bill. Every time you turn on the kettle, you're paying for it. You know why? And now Chris Bowen's sort of like, this is not very popular.
Yeah, but these wind farms have been chopping up birds for 20 years. We've covered this for a decade at least, and only now they're going to have a little study about it. I mean, that is really weird.
That's because what's
Barnaby
happening...
Joyce, thank you so much.